Let's get into it. Technology, super excited to be here. So what we're looking at is the things have changed. Why managed services are the best IT strategy for your small business. And you know what? We've got a lot to cover. If I don't have you on LinkedIn, take out your phone right now, scan that QR code, and I do talks, cyber talks all over the world. And Nick, a little bit of background. You can see there I was born in England, and I was born in a small fishing village in England called Padstow. And if you Google it, Padstow, small fishing village, about 2,000 people, gorgeous place to go in the summer, really gray and cold in the winter. But my parents got me out of there when I was 3. That's why I don't sound like a pirate, because most people don't know in America, but most of the pirates that came over in the 1700s were all from this area called Cornwall. Okay. And my parents did not want me to become a fisherman. And what's so funny is now, 40 years later, I travel around the world talking about fishing attacks. So this whole thing has kind of come full circle here.
You could see that pun coming. You just couldn't get out of the way of it.
Exactly. Been with Kaseya since 2020. If there are any basketball fans listening, you probably recognize the name Kaseya because we are on the building in Miami where the Miami Heat play. That's called the Kaseya Center now. And that is my LinkedIn. Feel free to scan that, add me up. I would love to chat with you. I post a lot of video, a lot of content. Today's content I posted was about cyber attacks in the UK are now being graded on a 1 to 5 system. And Nick, I don't know if you heard about this, but we're now wondering, will this come to America? Will this come to Canada? Will there be a grading system in place? Super interesting stuff. The videos are typically 2 minutes. So I know that's a long content for some, but you know what? I try to keep it under 2 minutes. But feel free to scan that QR code and let's chat. All right. So big question I get asked when I'm on the road, when I'm talking to end users, they're like, Miles, why would we use an MSP? And a managed service provider is something that I didn't even really know about 10 or 15 years ago because that term wasn't thrown around. I know I worked for a company doing travel IT, and we had someone and they just said they were an arm of our business. And I had never heard the term MSP. I just knew when I had issues with my email or issues with my system, I reached out to this guy, and his name was Dave. And this is when I lived in London. And he was amazing. He did everything I needed. And I thought he was part of our business, but it turned out he was an MSP. I didn't realize that till years later because they weren't using that term as much. But why do people use an MSP? Reducing costs. Small and medium-sized businesses, especially small-sized businesses, it's a lot of money to hire an IT guy. Nick, what would you say is the average price for an IT guy these days? I think you're on mute.
You're right. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
The good ones here in Chicago are right around $85,000 a year. If you want somebody that's got some experience, that's going to actually be able to get you covered. Otherwise, you're pulling somebody that has never done it and hiring on the cheap, which always comes to backfire.
Of course, and that's the big thing for small companies. You know, throwing out an $85,000 salary plus health benefits and all that other stuff, that's a lot of money. That's why people are using MSPs. I mean, we could dive into improved system availability. I mean, enhanced security. I'm going to dive into that in a little bit. Higher productivity. I think that's amazing. Scalability. You want to be able to grow your business and, you know, to hire 1 or 2 people. If that one person goes on holiday, what do you do? Compliance issues. That's another one I'm going to dive into in a little bit. You know, being agile in your business as well. I mean, if you want to take your business and move, you know, do you bring that IT guy with you? Risk mitigation. I'm going to dive into that in a little bit. Predictability and experience and expertise. You know, with using a managed service provider, you get a lot of things that are very different than an internal IT team. I talked to a lot of our team and I said, well, what are some of the reasons why people want an MSP compared to internal IT? I used my handy art skills here to throw those arrows in, Nick. I'm guessing you and the listeners are very impressed with this. But I love the predictability. I like having that flat rate monthly fee. So you're not paying $80,000 a month. You're maybe paying a couple grand a month. You know what you're going to be paying instead of a salary, health benefits, all the other stuff that comes with an employee. Proactive monitoring of all business applications and hardware. instead of troubleshooting. I know an IT guy is often pulled many different directions, and having that technical support is so key. When we're talking about skill, access to highly trained certified technicians, that's what you get with an MSP. That bringing in an IT person, they're going to have some skills. They may be straight out of college, but they actually haven't often worked in that business environment. Availability. IT guys work 9 to 5. They're not working at 5:37 p.m. And Nick, here's an easy lob. Here's an easy question. When do cyber attacks happen typically? Any clue?
Oh, 2, 3 in the morning, right when you're coming home from celebrating.
They happen at 2 or 3 in the morning when that IT guy's asleep. They happen on a little thing called July the 4th. Okay. They happen on Christmas Day, Thanksgiving, Easter, Sunday night, Saturday morning. They're not happening during business hours because these cyber criminals are smart. They're not gonna attack a business at 10:47 a.m. on a Tuesday. No, they're gonna make it bad for you. Availability, using an MSP. Obviously, you have a team behind you 24/7.